Hello, we're back outside, back in the garden, but today I want to talk about my tomatoes. I'm growing indeterminate tomatoes. There are indeterminate tomatoes and there are determinate tomatoes. And indeterminate tomatoes, which is what I have, what that means is they grow to sometimes an indeterminate size. They can get up to like 12 feet in some cases. But determinate tomatoes, those ones, they grow to a designated height, they produce, and then they're done. Indeterminate tomatoes will just keep growing and they will just keep producing, which is why I try to stay on top of them and prune them. I have pruned the bottoms, and this is with any tomatoes, all the way up to the stem before production. So I have these pruned all the way up because I don't want any backsplash from the soil getting on those bottom leaves, because that creates disease. Bacteria and spores from the dirt, that'll get on the leaves will get diseased, and it'll be hard to get rid of that. Early blight, different fungal diseases, blossom and rot and stuff like that. Also, if the leaves are overlapping, that sometimes is a reason why I will prune. So I got some nice looking tomatoes in there. Another good benefit of pruning is because tomatoes will grow these suckers, and I'll show you one back here. There's a little sucker right there. If you look right here, this little guy right here in between the growing stem and the leaf, this is a sucker, and this will grow into its own growing stem. It'll grow into its own growing stem, it'll produce flowers, it'll produce tomatoes, and I don't need that. I have enough plants, and I'm not looking for the most tomatoes, I'm looking for the best tomatoes. So I don't need any extra suckers. Now, some of them have gotten away with me, and it's okay. Some people prune their tomatoes to a single stem, which means they only want production off of one stem. Suckers provide you with more than one growing stem. And some of the plants have more than one growing stem, and I'm okay with that. But once it gets out of control and it's like 3 and 4 growing stems, yeah, that's when I try to get rid of those extra suckers. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'm glad you guys are having a good summer. I hope you guys are having a good summer and enjoying your growing season. Let's just look at some of these tomatoes I have here. These are the cherry tomatoes. I have cherry red and I have beefsteak. And look at these clusters. Look how beautiful those are. Look at all the clusters. And they're big. This is a cherry tomato. This is a big cherry tomato. And I like that. I like them to look neat and clean and not wild and out of control. Here I see a sucker in the back I'm going to have to get to. See, like this one here, I'll show you an example. This is my growing stem. This here is my growing stem. And this is the sucker. This is the leaf. This is the sucker, and then this is the growing stem. And look how big it's gotten. So that'll be a growing stem. A second growing stem. And I'm okay with that, as long as it doesn't get out of control and more of them form. Because like here, in between here, a sucker will form. And then that can be a growing stem, and I don't want that. So I got to keep an eye on that one. And if that ends up being a growing stem, I will have to get on that. There's another sucker back here. This one here is a sucker. But like I said, that one's already a single growing stem, so I'm not going to bother that one. I'm okay with 2 growing stems on each plant. Anything more than that, I will prune. And no matter how big it's gotten or how far away it's gotten from me, here's one that's just coming in. This little guy, I'm just going to pinch it off. Yeah, so I try to stay on top of that because determinate tomatoes, you know, if you don't prune those, that's fine because they're only going to get so big and they're only going to produce so much. So if you don't prune them, it's probably better because then you get more. There's another one. And when you're pruning the suckers, you can root them. You can take them off, put them in some water, and they will grow roots and you can plant them. And I'm doing this chop and drop method. When I prune my tomatoes, I just drop the leaves right down below. They go right back into the soil and feed the plants. It's called chop and drop. So I'm glad you guys can spend time with me today. Thanks for joining me. Till next time, have a great summer and a great growing season.